Islamic country, Iran, is the threat to peace in the world and not the Zionist. Is it America's support of Israel? Well, hundreds of people are getting killed in Gaza and West Bank every day with the support of America. The Israel-Palestinian war has been going on for 61 years, and we are not actually looking at what is actually happening, and we're fearing about what is not happening. We're fearing about something that hasn't happened.
It's become a familiar thing. I should perhaps preface this by saying that with Edward Said, the late Professor Edward Said, I wrote a book about the rights of Palestinians and the way in which these have been negated by Israeli policy. But I know a lot of people in the Arab and Muslim world who are fed up with having the subject changed to Israel whenever human rights for them comes up. A very good example of this just last week in Tehran, where the government has an official Al-Quds Day, as it's called, the Day of Jerusalem, where school children and others are paraded. It's a more or less compulsory demonstration to say they'll give their blood and their lives for Palestine. And hundreds of thousands of Iranians turned up to say, no, we'll only give our blood for Iran, thanks. We're fed up with being told by the regime that they represent the oppressed of Palestine, that we can't talk. And they are having to shed their blood because the regime keeps on killing them for wanting to have a say in their own internal affairs. And a regime that does this and has just pulled off a blood-stained military coup that's overturned the results even of an already predeterminedly fraudulent election, that says that, that a woman's voice is worth that of only... it takes 3 women in a court against 1 man, that uses torture and rape as policies in prison and so forth. You want a regime like that to have nuclear weapons? You're welcome. But you should say that's what you don't mind. Are you going to say that? Are you going to say you've no objection? That the real problem is the Jewish state? Come on, be serious.
So the Jewish state doesn't have nuclear weapons? Is that what you're saying?
Well, now, I appeal again to the fair-mindedness and intelligence of the audience. Did I say that?
No, but...
Did I in any way imply it?
No, but...
No. Did I not begin with a throat clearing, which I'll amplify if you will, about my long record of work about this, my defense of the Israeli dissidents who published the news about Israel's illegal program and gone to jail for it? I can refer you to all that if you like. But my point was directed specifically to you. Yeah. I said, does this, in your mind, make the destruction of human rights in Islamic countries okay or not?
No.
Good.
OK,
no,
let's hear from Walid.
Well, that's progress of a kind. I simply must say this. I'm really sorry. Implied in both what Walid has said and the lady questioner is the idea that Iran is perfectly entitled to have nuclear weapons. At least if Israel is, it is.
No, that's not what I
Well,
at all.
the Iranian government, don't let's forget, says it doesn't want them and isn't planning to have them. And so if it turns out they are, it's not a problem to do with Israel. It's to do with them breaking every undertaking they've ever made at the United Nations, every undertaking they've ever made to the International Atomic Energy Authority, every undertaking they've ever made to the European Union negotiators. It means that international law is completely meaningless. And yet, when Mr. Ahmadinejad tests missiles, he says this is part of our nuclear program. How is that part of a peace?
Yeah, can I just say...
Their party, their proxy party, Hezbollah, I've been to its rallies in Beirut. Do you know what the symbol of the party now is? What they put on the flag? A mushroom cloud, with the threat to the Jews written underneath it.
Can I
now,
say...
actually, when you go to meetings of the American Jewish Committee, you don't quite get that propaganda.
Chrisopher, hold on. Put a line under this, but I just want to ask you one question and a brief answer if you could.
You mean I'm incapable of a brief answer? I can be terse if I have to be.
OK, we'll answer this tersely. Israel, of course, did try and stop Iraq acquiring nuclear weapons by bombing a reactor. Would it be justified, in your opinion, for them to do the same in Iran?
What Israel did to the Iraq reactor was what the Iranians had tried to do, everyone forgets this, with their own Air Force a couple of months before. The Iranians had a huge sigh of relief when the Israelis pulled off a raid they couldn't bring off themselves and disarmed Saddam Hussein. There are a lot of people in the Sunni Arab world, believe you me, who hope that the Israelis take out the Iranian one in turn, but they can't say so in public any more than the Iranians could before. My own view is that Israel both cannot and should not attempt such an attack.
OK, well...